Morning, peeps. I'm back. And you're probably wondering why. What's he on about now? You're asking yourselves. Well, this is going to be a short video about the dangers of chips. Because we all know that every single chip, apart from a triple captain, is a double-edged sword. They can go wrong, they can ruin your season. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and they require planning. They require changing players and doing all these other sorts of things outside of the normal game weeks that can backfire. And in some cases, this is what made me think of this. Some people have already lost points because of the assistant manager chip and they haven't even played it yet. Some had lost 14, 15 or 16 points already just because of this chip, which is probably more than they will earn from the actual chip in the next week. So how, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you, peeps. Because a lot of people who didn't bring in Gakpo this week did not bring him in because they didn't want a third Liverpool player, because they were playing their assistant manager chip next week. And like I said, it's already cost some points. So we're going to have a quick look at chips today and see how we can avoid falling into this trap, because it's happens with all of them. We've all had bench boosts that we've used in a double game week. We wildcarded the game week before simply to get a bench boost team, some cases. So that's kind of negated the wildcard. Often we've had to put more money on the bench than is ideal for that bench boost. And in some cases, after that bench boost week, even if we've done well, we end up having to make quite a few transfers to get rid of those bench boost players. And at the end of the day, you sometimes wonder whether the whole process was in fact worth it. I've had good bench boosts, but then I've had bench boosts where I've only got 10 or 12 points, and I've made transfers to bring these people in and all sorts of things where probably it's ended up being a complete waste of time. And talking about a complete waste of time, peeps, I'll show you this wildcard of mine, because game week 4, I took out Haaland, just before all his hat-tricks, of course, and played my wildcard. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but looking at the team now, it's absolutely diabolical. Look, Jackson, Mitoma, Eze, Pau Torres, Robertson, Calvert-Lewin, João Pedro. At the time, it seemed like a good idea. A lot of people did it. Seemed like a great idea. But you look at it now, and it's rubbish. Because wildcards, sometimes you feel like you need to change when you don't really need to change. And they really are a double-edged sword. You're crazy. This is ridiculous. Look, game week rank of nearly 10 million when I played my wild card. So that shows you just how double-edged these chips can be. That's just one example. So we'll go back and have a quick chat about the other ones, because the free hit chip, do you remember that last year? A lot of us played our free hit chip in a blank game week. Good teams weren't playing, so we used it when all the rubbishy teams had a fixture. And because they're rubbish, I think they all drew one each or whatever. And we got about 20 points for the game week using our free hit chip, when we probably could have got just as many points if we hadn't even bothered using it. So that's another example. Free hits can be a problem. We've seen that the bench boost can be a problem. And already we are seeing this assistant manager can be a problem. And I put it to you that this assistant manager could absolutely dwarf all these other chips combined in the way it could have negative impact on your teams. You've got to pay money to pick the managers up. You can only have 2 players from the team. If Arsenal are at home to Ipswich, you can only have 2 Arsenal players. You might in fact be better off not even playing the chip in that week, because you could get more points out of your third Arsenal player than you could actually get from using the chip. You know, this is a situation that could well arise. Like I said, we've already seen this with the Liverpool next week. I actually think for this very reason that Everton are actually a better use of the chip this week than Liverpool, simply because of the fact that you don't really want true Everton players anyway. So having the manager in there isn't going to cost you in the respect that you're missing out on good returns from a playing asset. So, and they're probably going to get good points against Leicester for your chip. And you've got an outside chance of getting really a lot of points if they did beat Liverpool. It's unlikely, but you'd get big points if they did. You'd still get good points if they drew. And if they lost, it wouldn't be the end of the world because you would have already got your points from the Leicester match, you know. And Liverpool could equally quite easily lose against Bournemouth. So you could end up with more points from Everton chip. Plus, of course, you get the extra Liverpool player by not using the chip. So I think a lot of people have actually gone off using the chip this week. But like I said, this can be a very, very negative chip in that it's dangerous. You know, on the surface, it makes you points. But when you factor in all the transfers that it might deprive you of, because instead of using them on players, you have to use them on managers, and the fact that for 3 weeks you're playing with a diminished budget and also can only have 2 players from a team that has a very good fixture, and you combine all that and you can see that overall you might not be gaining as many points from this chip as you think you are. You know, you might think you got 30 points from it, but you may have missed out on plenty of returns from the missing player that you couldn't buy because you had to buy the manager. So basically, peeps, that's it. You know, I've just come on to tell you that these chips are dangerous and you have to handle them with care. You know, they're like dynamite on the TV programs. It's sweating away and it's not safe. You know, some stooge will pick it up, walk off and get blown up. Well, don't be that stooge, peeps, because it could happen to you. And in fact, like I said, it's already happened to some people and they haven't even played it yet because they've missed out on Gakpo simply because they couldn't bring in a third Liverpool asset because they're thinking of using the chip. Anyway, peeps, that's about it. That's all done. I'll just tell you that I have, in fact, made my transfers this week. I bought in Pickford already because I thought he was going to rise in price. He didn't. I bought in this Everton striker whose name I cannot pronounce, or haven't even bothered to try and look up to see how to pronounce. So I bought him in as well because his price is going to rise tonight. It didn't. So perhaps I should do a video about the dangers of bringing in players early because the price sites got it all wrong and saying he's going to rise when they didn't. But, you know, Pedro will be dropping this week, so I replaced him. And I've got Pickford. So now I've got my 5 players in place and I will not be using my chip. So anyway, peeps, that's about it. So have a think and realise that all these chips are dangerous. So you've got to think very carefully and look beneath the surface because what might look good might not be quite as good as it seems once you factor in all the concessions that you've made to use them. So that's it, peeps. So cheers for now, and I'll talk to you all in a couple of days. Okay then. Bye for now then, peeps.